YouTube. I am back again. It's early afternoon, May 22nd. I am coming up on the Tucson, Arizona area, eastbound on I-10. Got interrupted on my last video. Seems these people like to call me when I'm in the middle of a video. I was again talking about how slight changes in global temperature could affect weather patterns in a big way in certain areas. I'm going to focus this on more on an experience I had visiting a petroglyph site in Arizona back in 2008. According to the history of the area, the Gila River ran freely back in the 11th century AD. Right now, it's a totally dried out riverbed in most places. Back then, the area was lush in Arizona. Water was plentiful. What would explain that? How come how come the river isn't flowing today? Why was it flowing back then and not today? Why is it a dry riverbed today? Is it just because the area is populated and a lot of water is getting used up, or was the climate different back then? Did they actually receive more rainfall back then that enabled that river to flow freely? Where now it's just a dried out riverbed. My explanation from much research that I've done on that, the climate for one was warmer back in the 11th century than even modern day. In a warmer climate, Arizona, what would happen is the high pressure belt that brings the heat there in the summer would shift further north. With a warmer climate, that high pressure system would establish itself more up in the latitude of perhaps Idaho maybe, or Utah than in Arizona. So what that would do is it would bring the monsoon northward. Normally, it would turn the winds more to the east over Arizona in summertime. With the wind out of the east in Arizona, what would happen is the tropical weather systems that cross the Atlantic Ocean come across Mexico and drop their moisture in Arizona. It's not something that only happens a little bit nowadays. Back then, it happened all summer. Wintertime precipitation would decrease there because the storm track would be further north. Winter storms would not hit Arizona much. They would be under that high pressure system. It would only go down to Arizona in the winter and not go further south, so that would protect them from winter storms. But in the summertime, that high pressure would go north, turning the winds out of the east, meaning that it would leave the Gulf of Mexico moisture. A constant flow would come into Arizona from the Gulf of Mexico, bringing plentiful rains to that region and cooler temperatures in the summer. To the point where that river likely would flow because the rains would be very heavy from these weather systems off the Gulf. It would bring a lot of rain to that region. much more than they see today in the summer. And of course, there'd be enough rainfall in the summer, weather probably a little bit cooler in the winter. The river probably would run even through the winter time if the temperatures cool down enough. So the river would likely run year-round, the Gila River. That's what that historical account brought out, that these people who carved these petroglyphs lived there year-round, where nowadays it's up in the hundreds in the summertime. Back then, if it rained a lot, that likely kept things a lot cooler there in the summer than nowadays. And the area was much more inhabitable. They could probably grow stuff. And that's what the historic account brought out. Of course, it's easy to think, well, today it's a more populated. Phoenix takes all the water out of the river. I don't think that's the explanation. I think the explanation is the climate was very different back then. And that influenced the local climate. It brought more rain there in the summer than now. Because again, the tropical weather systems came across the Atlantic. It came into the Gulf of Mexico. And instead of curving like they do nowadays, they would just keep going up through Mexico and on into Arizona and dump all their rain process. So that's what a warmer climate would do. And plus, in the warmer climate, the trade winds would be more vigorous that come across the Atlantic as well. Because the high pressure that creates these winds would move further north. So the zone for the trade winds would expand to carry these weather systems. Of course, with expanded trade winds in the Pacific, it would lead to more La Nina type conditions in the Pacific, because if the trade winds are strong, more water would be blown to the west. Cold water would come up. So there's a lot of interconnectedness with the Earth's climate, a lot of different elements pieced together. We put the puzzle together, we could see in general how it works. With a warmer climate in the United States, the winters would become much milder. There would be not much in the way of winter storms to talk about, because that high pressure system, instead of going down to Mexico and Florida like it does now, would only go down to maybe Kansas in the winter time, park itself there instead. So winter storms would stay up in Canada in that scenario. They wouldn't come south much. The weather over the U.S. would be a lot more tranquil than today in the winter time. Because if you got that high parked over Kansas all winter long, the storms are all going to be deflected up along the Canadian border, mostly north. There's not going to be much snow, that type of pattern. Not going to be much in the way of nor'easters, because there's a high pressure system Sitting off the East Coast, you can't get a storm there, obviously. Most of the winter it stays that way. So snowfall would decrease over the East Coast, the warming scenario. The weather would be much more tranquil in the wintertime. It's hard to say what hurricanes would do, but in a warming scenario, the East Coast would become a lot more at risk. Because again, that high pressure system, if it parks itself up over Nova Scotia instead of Bermuda, it's going to steer the hurricanes and tropical weather systems right into the East Coast a lot more easily than nowadays. Florida would, the risk would increase tremendously. On the other hand, the global cooling scenario, the risk for hurricanes